Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Anything and Everything. I'm your host, Garrett Hazard. Today, I'm going to be flying solo. This episode is going to be called Me, Myself, and I. Got no co-pilot today. My girlfriend, Sunita, said she didn't want to come on because she had a lot of homework. So I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the Instagram topics you guys had, some updates from SUNY Poly, and then I got some NBA news I wanted to talk about. But before I get into all that, I just wanted to say this podcast is brought to you by the amazing team at Wildcat Media. And Wildcat Media gets all of their state-of-the-art equipment from the student activities fee all students at SUNY Poly pay each semester. So thank you to all the SUNY Poly students for listening, and then thank you to all the listeners out there for supporting the podcast. So some of the Instagram topics that you guys submitted, one of them was about AllStar Weekend that happened this past weekend in the NBA. I'm going to get into more in depth of that. I thought that the new All-Star game format was pretty interesting. They had a nice tribute to the late, great Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to him. And so I'm going to go more in depth to that All-Star game layout, dunk contest, all that other fun stuff. Shout out to Brian Enriquez for putting that in the Instagram today. Let me see. Also, I had some pretty random people respond to my Instagram thing. I guess it went like kind of public. I had a lot more responses than I thought. Someone named Ryan Pope, he said, "Hi there, A&E with G. Hope you're having a great week." I thought that was kind of interesting, just a random person saying that. Hope you have a great week. And then someone also, he said, Christian Pina on Instagram said, "Hey, I'm a pro sports bettor and I also run a sports investment firm. Visit my profile and tap in with me if you love sports betting." And I was like, that's also very random, so we're just not going to respond to them at all. So my friend Will Grady, shout out to Will Grady. He's an active listener. He wanted me to talk about the introduction of the fat cat, also known as Josh Blake. So I remember on my first podcast, I started talking about the difference between a big boy and a big dog. And now we have discovered that Josh, since he is a big boy surrounded by big dogs, he is the quote-unquote fat cat of the group. And we like to say big dogs got to eat and fat cats like to snack. So that clears up the air with what Josh is referred to in our friend group now. So I hope Josh listens. Hope he gives me a hard time about that. And let me see what else we got here. PJ, shout out to PJ Farrell, my volleyball team. He said he wanted me to play Truth or Drink with Sunita, but the drinks would be water for legal reasons, obviously. So we unfortunately can't do that today. Matt Russo, shout out to Matt. He wanted me to talk about the NHL, but I do not really follow hockey that much. I know the Boston Bruins are the best team in the NHL every single year out of the history of the NHL. That's all I know. And then we got, let me see here. Yeah, that was pretty much it. So moving on to, got some updates from SUNY Poly, just from like a sports side. Tonight we had two basketball games featuring the men's and the women's basketball team. They played Lancaster Bible. The men's team should be wrapping up their game right now. Let me check the score for you guys. We got, I wonder how they did. The men's and women's basketball team at this school are pretty good in the NEAC conference. Oh, it looks like they won. Yes, they did. Congrats to the men's basketball team. They beat Lancaster Bible tonight 80-53. Big shout out to those boys. And then tomorrow they got their senior night game. Shout out to my boy Ty. Shout out to Jake Kulikowski if they're listening. Big seniors. Kevon Banks. All seniors. Heck of a season for you guys. I'm really excited. And then also the women's basketball team is playing right now. I don't know the score of that game, but tomorrow's going to be their senior night. They're going to be honoring all the seniors that have played for the past 4 years if they transfer however long they've played for SUNY Poly. And both teams are both at the top of the NEAC conference, so it's going to be really exciting to see them play in the playoffs. In a couple of weeks, I'll be statting those games right now, or I'll be statting those games next weekend when they come up. What does that say? I can't read it. 25-15. Shout out to the ladies. They're undefeated in the NEAC, which is pretty impressive. NEAC women's basketball here is pretty intense. They go and get the job done. I think they beat a team by like 50 the other day. Yeah, out there. our women's team is pretty historically pretty good here. So big shout out to the ladies. Big shout out to the men's basketball team. They're gonna be good going into the NEAC playoffs in a couple weeks. And so now I wanted to get into men's volleyball. I do play on the men's volleyball team here. I'm the co-captain along with Connor Schultz. We have 2 games on Sunday. Right now we're not doing so hot, but we're looking to bounce back. Right now we're doing a lot of offensive drills, working on our swings, working on different types of combination plays on free balls and stuff. And it's starting to click, I think. I think we're starting to get in a groove. I'm hoping that we can take these 2 teams, winning like 3 sets or something with each game. Move on to the second half of our conference play. Right now, we're not sitting too pretty in our conference standings. I believe we're 1-3 in our conference, but we're going to have 2 weekends where we play the same 2 teams that are fairly new to men's volleyball. We're looking to beat those teams, secure a playoff spot. Luckily, there's only 7 teams in our volleyball conference where we can, if we beat the 3 teams that are at the bottom of the conference, we'll be able to secure that playoff spot and then hopefully get hot at the right time, make a push at the end of the season. The season for myself, Connor, has been going pretty well. We're kind of leading the bulk with offensive and defensive statistics. Connor right now is leading our team with 154 kills. I'm at 98 as of today, and then Connor is also at the top of our conference in blocks and digs as well, which is surprising because he's only back row for 3 rotations. And then, yeah, I'm currently leading the conference in total blocks, and then I'm also tied for second in blocks per set, and then Connor's 6th in blocks per set. So trying to take our senior status, our leadership, and turn that and lead by example on the court. I think Connor and I have done a good job of that this year. Big shout out to my co-captain, Connor. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I think we started out a little slow. We went 2-2 in the opening weekend, and then we had a couple bad losses, a couple close losses too. So we're looking to bounce back from that, bounce back from the first half of the season, get some energy going, and then turn these next few weeks into lots of wins for the team. I wanted to give you guys a little update because it's been a little while since I've been on the podcast. I think the last time was when I had my brother and my father, Gunnar, and my dad. Shout out to them if they're listening. And they were, no, we got into, that was a very funny episode. If you guys want to listen to that episode, it's on YouTube page. And if you guys follow my YouTube page, Anything and Everything with Garrett Hazard, you can find all of the updates from this podcast, and you can watch all the old episodes. They're all there. You can also check out, I had a couple liked videos. I remember in the beginning I talked about Christmas trap music, and that was all the songs that I said were really good. You can check those out. I know it's not Christmas music time yet, but if you want to go check those out. And then, I just lost my train of thought. Yeah. Oh, right. Updates with me. So over the winter, I did pretty much nothing. I was able to go to a couple alumni basketball practices at my high school, Oneonta Senior High School. Big shout out to the basketball team there. They're playing really good right now. And so I was doing that. I was working out with my boys from back home. Shout out to Kay Shears. Shout out to my boy Dan, Robbie, David, Ethan, Tanner. I got to see all of them. It was good seeing them, good catching up with them. And then also I received a job offer from BNY Mellon. I'm going to be working in the OCAP Operations Campus Analyst Program there for the next 2 years at least, I think. And it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited to start working there in June. That was one big thing that happened with me. I applied there, got the job offer in the winter. So that's pretty exciting news. And then I also got accepted to grad school here. So I'm going to be looking to get my master's degree in accounting. It's all online, so that's pretty cool. Get to work full-time and then take classes too. So I'll be trying to further my career. And I'm going to be working still in the athletics department here at SUNY Poly. I'm going to be working with my man Pat Baker in the sports information office as a graduate assistant. Unfortunately, I couldn't pursue my basketball dreams next year because I'm just going to be so spent with time. I don't want to draw myself too thin. I don't think I would have any time for practices or whatnot. So It's unfortunate, but I'm going to still try and play basketball over the summer in my Blendos League, so that should be fun. Over the winter, I was in touch with the sports information department for the NEAC conference, and they reached out to me wanting to do this spotlight, the senior student athlete spotlight, and I got a chance to write a letter to my freshman self, and that video is also on YouTube. If you go to my liked videos on my YouTube page, Anything and Everything with Garrett Hazard, you can check out that video. I think it was really cool. Again, Pat Baker helped me set up that video. I did the audio, did the different compilations of pictures and stuff, and I was reading the letter that I wrote to my freshman self. I thought that was pretty cool. I got a little nostalgic, not going to lie. Again, reminding myself of like, oh, wow, these 4 years have really flown by, and it's kind of crazy that I move on to the next step already. So that was really what happened with me. Yeah, volleyball's underway. It's almost, it's almost spring break. We got spring break in a couple weeks. It's last semester is really flying by. Last semester of undergrad, I should say. But yeah, I'm really excited to take the next step for my career, my future. I think it's looking really bright right now. And then, we just got to keep really working. All the hard work I've put into making myself a better person, getting different leadership experiences has really paid off. And so I'm looking to take all of that and really thrive in my next few years as I work for BNY Mellon, get my master's degree, and then see where that takes me. So, yeah, that was really updates with me for the past few months, I should say. And now I wanted to talk about the NBA, because that's one of the things I try to follow as much as I can, even though I can't watch all the games. I don't have the NBA League Pass, but last year I was able to watch the free Reddit streams that were like NBA streams on Reddit. And unfortunately, Adam Silver, the commissioner of the NBA, he took those down, so I was unable to watch a lot of the games this year so far. So I had to just like look at box scores, look at like different highlights. I know on YouTube, House of Highlights is a good one for the NBA. They really just take all the highlights from each game. Each game's like 8 or 9 minutes long each game. So they clip all the really important parts, and I think that's really cool to watch. So if you want to check out any of the NBA highlight games, any of the clips and stuff like that, I highly recommend House of Highlights on YouTube. I think it's a really good page to look at. But I want to get to what Brian asked me to talk about, AllStar Weekend. I think AllStar Weekend this year was one of the best it's been in a while. The dunk contest, three-point contest, the skills challenge was all really it was really good to watch. I watched it Saturday night. We had a volleyball game, and then I ended up going back to my room watching it. I was on a different stream, not a Reddit stream, but I found some way to watch it, so that was pretty cool. Actually, I remember what I did. There was this TV streaming service called FUBU.TV, and it was offering a 1 week free trial. And so I said, all right, so I'll sign up for this, and then as soon as All-Star Weekend's done, I'll cancel it, because that's what you do. Because you don't want to pay I think it was like $60 for a year or something for that, and I wasn't going to pay that because I don't watch that much TV anyways. I use it like Netflix and Hulu and stuff like that. So I was able to watch All-Star Saturday night, was able to watch the All-Star game. I was really intrigued. The Rising Stars Challenge, not the Rising Star Challenge. That happened Friday night, and I wasn't able to watch that. But the Skills Challenge I thought was really good. My boy Jason Tatum, he got knocked out by a power forward. I was upset about that. But then Bam Adebayo from Miami Heat, he was able to beat Domantas Sabonis in the finals of the Skills Challenge, which it's kind of crazy on how the game's changing. You have these big men, these power forwards, these centers able to handle the ball, able to shoot the ball, which is something that I've brought into my basketball game, but it's pretty crazy to see them do it at such a high level at the NBA. So it's pretty crazy to watch how the game changes, but like seeing these big men compete in the finals of the Skills Challenge, which has been an event primarily done by guards and like small forwards and stuff. It's really cool to watch the progression of the game, just as someone who loves watching the game in general. And then moving on to the three-point contest, I thought the three-point contest was pretty good. I was able to watch Buddy Hield and Devin Booker go off in the final. Those boys can shoot. I like the format change they had this year. They added the 2 Mountain Dew deep 3-pointers. I believe they're like 29 feet out. So they still had the 5 spots in general, like the 2 corners, the 2 wings, and then top of the key. And then they added in between the top of the key and each wing, you had to shoot a 29-footer. And I thought that was really good. That ball was worth 3, and then you had your money ball rack, which all those ones are worth 2, and then the traditional 4 regular balls, and then the money ball for each other rack. So I believe Devin Booker had 26 in his final round, and then Buddy Hield was able to get 27. It came down to the last ball. So when I was watching that, I was like, wow, that's clutch shooting right there. Those 2 guys are 2 of the best shooters in the NBA by far. And then what was lucky for Devin Booker, not really lucky because my boy Damian Lillard was injured. He couldn't participate in the All-Star game. He's on my fantasy team, so I was kind of upset about that he is now injured for the next 2 weeks or something like that. Devin Booker got into the All-Star game because Damian Lillard was scratched due to that injury. So I really think that Devin Booker should have got in the first place. I don't know over who, because all those reserves were. They all have their case, but I thought Devin Booker just had that stretch of games where he was averaging 30 points and 7 assists on 55% shooting or something like that. And just that stretch of 10 games where he went off and he was averaging 27 and before the All-Star break with 7 assists. He had a really good case to be an All-Star, but I think he was probably the biggest snub this year. And fortunately he was able to go in, but not due to an injury from Damian Lillard. It was good to see him play in the All-Star game, though. He had a good couple of highlights, and the new format for the All-Star game was pretty cool. Before I get into that, I want to talk about the dunk contest. Aaron Gordon, again, he got snubbed big time. I think he had 5 or 6 50-point dunks, and he ended up losing to Derrick Jones Jr. after he windmilled from the free throw line or something like that. So the dunk contest participants were Aaron Gordon and Derrick Jones Jr., Pat Connaughton, and I don't even know who the last one was. But the final consisted of Derrick Jones Jr. and Aaron Gordon, who those guys can jump out of the gym. Those guys are crazy athletic. But what happened on the last dunk was so in the final round they were trading 50-point dunks like crazy. Aaron Gordon got a 50, Derrick Jones Jr. came right back and got a 50. It was pretty crazy. So their third dunk in the final round, it would have been they went to their third dunk, and then after that dunk, if they were still tied, it would have been a judge's decision on who won, which that would have been pretty crazy to watch them kind of decide who wins the dunk contest after that. But what happened was Derrick Jones Jr., he took a few steps back, well, more than a few steps, but he ended up windmill dunking from 1 step in from the free throw line, which is pretty crazy. I know Zach Lavine did something like that 2 or 3 years ago when he was going against Aaron Gordon too. And so he got a 48 for that dunk, and I was like, well, okay, that's pretty crazy, but 48, that's pretty insane. So Aaron Gordon goes up and he calls over Taco Fall, which if you don't know who Taco Fall is, he's the 7'6" center for the Boston Celtics. This guy's crazy tall. He looked pretty his getup was pretty. He had a nice suit on, and it was I don't know. He was dressing good, but so he was standing up. He was I don't want you to sweat on me because I got all these nice clothes on. So he stood underneath the basket. Aaron Gordon jumped up. He dunked over him, jumped over him and dunked it. And everyone was going crazy. Everyone thought that Aaron Gordon won, and then we got the judges' score back, and it was 47, and we were all like, "Oh God!" We were like, well, "How does everyone's going crazy? How does he get a 47?" And so after everyone saw that, everyone was like, "Damn!" He really got snubbed again. 2 or 3 years ago when he was going against Zach Lavine, he was doing all these crazy dunks no one had ever seen before, and Zach Lavine was just. People said that Zach Lavine was one-upping him. It was a toss-up. A lot of people think that he got snubbed. I think he got snubbed. I think he got snubbed again this year. But it was pretty crazy. But nevertheless, all the NBA events that were going on this weekend or this past weekend were pretty crazy. Dunk contest has always been my favorite. 3-point contest, I like the 3-point contest, but dunk contest just always gets you on your feet. It's more electrifying to watch rather than people just, shoot from the same spot 5 times and move on at the same spot. Like, you're always getting something different with the dunk contest. That's why I like it more. So moving into the new All-Star Game format, I thought it was a very nice tribute to Kobe Bryant. I think that what they did made the game more intense. I think the All-Star Game's gotten a bad rep in the NBA for being like a lack of defense, which you're going to get that with a lot of the All-Star Games that go on. But I think what they did this year made it a lot more defensive-minded, definitely at the end. So the format was you're going to play team. It was still the 2 team captains, Team LeBron and Team Giannis. They picked their teams. That's the same for the past few years. And then what happened was you play each quarter is going to be like each quarter is like a separate game. So if the first quarter you play 12 minutes, whoever wins that wins $100,000 for their charity. I wasn't too sure which charity was with each team, but I believe Team LeBron won the first quarter, so his charity got $100,000. And then they reset the scoreboard for the second quarter. And then Team Giannis won the second quarter, so his charity got $100,000. And then they move into the third quarter, and then I believe they tied. So they moved that charity amount to the fourth quarter. And so the fourth quarter, what happened was they added up the scores from all 3 quarters before that. So let's just say the total from the first 3 quarters, Team LeBron gets 100, and then Team Giannis gets 95. That's not correct. Just giving you guys an example. So after 3 quarters, you add them all up, and the score was 100 for Team LeBron. So what happened was they turned off the clock. There's no more game clock. They added 24 points to whatever team had the most points. So if Team LeBron was winning and they had 100 points, you added 24, so you get 124. And they turned off the clock, and then they said, okay, first team to 124 wins the thing for charity, wins the $100,000. So I thought that was really cool to add that component to it, because you're not playing for a score, you're literally playing each possession. So you're forcing people to get defensive stops, and you're forcing people to make tough baskets. And the way they were playing super hard, and I loved it. So watching the game was like really, really good, because there was just so much defensive intensity. The referees were really letting them play. It was getting really nitty gritty. There were a few offensive foul calls there. Like Kyle Lowry was getting charged, like he was drawing charges all the time, which you don't see in All-Star games, which I think is it's a testament to how hard these guys really play, like in the heat of the moment, especially when it's going for something like charity. Like they just go crazy. And so I believe Team Giannis was winning by, oh God, they had like 130 something. So the target score was 157, and Team Giannis was up by 6, maybe something like that. So watching Team LeBron grind back and grind to that target score, I believe the score was tied like 155, they were up 156, 154. And the target score was 157, and Team LeBron was coming down the floor. I forget who was guarding Anthony Davis on Team LeBron, but Anthony Davis just cut across the paint, and he gets fouled. And everyone's like, oh, my God, they're just going to win right here. So Anthony Davis goes to the line. He misses the first free throw, and I'm like, is he really going to miss both of these? And then Team Giannis is going to get a chance to win, but then he makes the second one, and then they ended up winning on a free throw, which is unfortunate, but the game was just really intense, and I thought it was a great change up to the format. I hope they do that in future years, because that was the fourth quarter. The whole game was interesting to watch. There was dunks and 3-pointers, crazy shots and stuff like that, but watching them play defense was really, really entertaining, because you're getting the best players on the planet playing at their highest level. It was really good to watch, and I think that's going to be important for them to play the All-Star game like that in the future. I wanted to talk about my fantasy team for a little bit, because right now I'm up 6 on. For the record, I'm up 6 on. Oh, no, I'm up 3. I'm up 3 now on Josh, the fat cat. Like I said earlier, Damian Lillard was on my fantasy team, and he's out for the next 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. Up 3 to 4 games. Did not practice today. Thank you, NBA, for telling me that he did not practice for the past 3 or 4 days. So I was doing a lot of adding, dropping because there are some players on my team that aren't as good as the others. Like I have my core right now has been Dame. It's been Nikola Jokic. I got Jason Tatum. I drafted him pretty early because he's my favorite player in the Celtics. Clint Capella, who was recently traded to the Hawks, who I think that was a big trade for them to get someone in the middle like that, someone who's just super athletic that can grab rebounds. I think he'll work really good with Trey Young and that crew, but he's also injured. Will be weeks, so that'll be interesting when he comes back. He'll add a different element to their game. I also have D'Angelo Russell, who was recently traded to the Timberwolves, and I think he and Karl Anthony Towns are going to do a lot of work for Minnesota, and hopefully they can add another piece there, and they can be a title contender for the next couple of years because that core group would be pretty good team to play with. I also have Donovan Mitchell. He was an All-Star this year. Bradley Beal. He wasn't an All-Star, but he's been playing really well for the Washington Wizards. I picked up Bam, who I mentioned earlier was the champion of the Skills Challenge. He's been getting triple doubles left and right. He's been a big addition to my team. And then I have a couple other guys that I rotate with, some of the free agents that are in our league. I have J.J. Redick, Marcus Morris, Evan Fournier, and Lonzo Ball. If there's someone in the free agent pool that is playing a game and one of these guys aren't playing, I'll try to drop one of them, pick up someone who is playing that night so that I can guarantee that I'm going to get some points because some points are better than no points. That's kind of my philosophy for fantasy, always trying to be active. If you play any fantasy, you should always try to be active because if you're not active and you have good people, the people in your league are trying to win. So if you're not active, those people cannot get those good players. So if you know you're not going to be active, try to trade away your good players so that the people that are playing can thrive. That's just my take on that. More NBA news. Let me see. How good are the Celtics doing? They've been playing well lately. I'm really, really excited to watch the Celtics over the next few years if they can keep this team together because these core guys, Kemba, Jason, Jalen, Gordon, they're all playing really well right now, and I would hate to see any one of them go. It's just, yeah, so they beat the Clippers in double overtime the other night, which I thought was that was right before the All-Star game. They all played really well that night. Yeah, Tatum had 39. Tatum's going to be huge. He's going to be an All-Star for years to come. He was also in the All-Star game this past year. His first-time All-Star. He was a part of the Rising Stars Challenge his first 2 years in the league. He's gonna be really good. And then Jalen also had a stretch of games where he was averaging like 20 points, 8 rebounds, and he was shooting like 50% from the floor, which only like 3 other players named LeBron, Anthony Davis, and I can't even think of the third one. But like that, he was mentioned with those guys, and like that's top tier right there. So if he's playing up to that level, and Jason's playing up to that level, Kemba is another All-Star. Gordon Hayward, he bounced back great from his horrific injury a couple of years ago, and they've been playing great. I've been saying that the death lineup, so like the best lineup that the Celtics could put in was Kemba, Jalen, Jason, Gordon, and then put Taco Fall in the middle, and you're just gonna get a lot. You're gonna get a lot of productive defense with Jalen and Jason. And then you could put Gordon at the 4, and then you just get all of the rim protection with Taco Fall in the middle because he just reaches so far. I'm pretty sure he can dunk just by standing. Like he just stands, puts the ball in the hoop, and then calls it a day. So if you put him in with those 4, that's gonna be the lineup that wins the NBA championship, and you can take that to the bank. Right now they're third in the East. The Raptors are second, I believe. Yeah, the Bucks are going to be a hard team to beat, but the Celtics did beat them, so it'll be interesting when playoffs come around. Right now it's the first quarter, but they're losing to the Timberwolves, which is unfortunate. They play the Lakers on Sunday. I won't be watching that because I'll be playing volleyball, but I'll be watching the highlights for that. The Lakers are also looking really good. I'm really looking forward to see who comes out of the West because you got a few teams like I think if you have an LA Western Conference Finals, that'd be crazy to watch because like no team would be traveling, so you don't have to worry about like travel days and rest days and stuff like that because you literally won't be moving. You'll be going to the same stadium. It'll be just a different floor for that night or whenever they have like whoever's home and whoever's away. They'll just have a different floor. So that was really it. That's all I really wanted to talk about. It's going to be a short podcast today just because it's myself. I talked about a little bit the NBA. Shout out to Brian Enriquez. Give me that topic. A little bit about myself, a little bit about men's volleyball, men's basketball, women's basketball. I'm excited to see all of them thrive in their playoffs coming up. I'm excited to see my team bounce back from our slow start and start clicking in a little bit. I'm excited to see the rest of the season. I'm excited to graduate in about 2.5 months and then, start the rest of my life. So next week, I'm going to try and have my friends Mike Lucio, Trent, and Joe on. We're going to talk about life with them. They're all mechanical engineers, so I'm going to talk about like their life and their schooling because, I'm an accounting major. My coursework isn't as hard as theirs, so I'm going to get to know what the life is like being an engineer, stuff like that. So make sure to stay tuned. Thank you guys for listening, and peace out.